From record-breaking hits to power pop anthems, 1980 was a year with unforgettable tunes that, strangely, came and went with just one smash. Here are the top 15 forgotten one-hit wonders from 1980. Number 1. Funky Town by Lips Inc. This was a total banger. It's the type of song that makes you want to strut down the street like you're in some kind of disco movie. Lips Inc., yep, that's pronounced lip sync, wasn't actually a full-time band, but was a studio project created by a guy named Steven Greenberg. Steven lived in old Minneapolis, but he was dreaming of glitz, glam, and a warmer, funkier place with a poppin' music scene. So, what he ended up doing was writing a song about it. Funky Town dropped in 1980, and it blew up fast. It didn't just hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, it hit number 1 in 28 countries. It even went platinum, which means it sold over 1 million copies. But the story doesn't end there. This disco jam keeps living on. You've probably heard it on commercials, movies, or even while scrolling through TikTok. It's been used in everything from Shrek 2 to snack ads. This beat is unforgettable. And the funniest part is that Lip Sync never had another big hit after that. It was just a one-time thing, I guess. Number 2. Take Your Time, Do It Right by the SOS Band. Just the name makes you feel groovy. It was the late 70s, and a group of talented musicians in Atlanta, Georgia came together to form a new band. They called themselves the SOS Band, which stands for Sounds of Success. They actually lived up to that name with their very first song, Take Your Time, Do It Right. Take Your Time, Do It Right was their debut single in 1980, and it kinda did everything right. It mixed that classic R&B vibe with some funky bass lines, sparkly synths, and a beat that made you want to boogie in your seat. It was smooth, catchy, and had that cool grown-up party feel. The song shot to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, which is huge, especially for a debut. Even though the SOS Band never had a bigger mainstream hit, this track totally cemented their spot in the R&B world. They kept making music and gained a strong fan base, especially among folks who love that old school groove. Number 3, Into the Night by Many Mardones. This one's a full-on emotional roller coaster, perfect for those staring out the window dramatically moments. Benny was the guy with the big voice, bigger hair, and a whole lot of feeling. He was a singer-songwriter with serious passion, and he poured all of it into the song Into the Night. The song was inspired by a young girl going through a tough time. Benny knew her family and wanted to write something kind and protective, like a musical hug. When Into the Night came out in 1980, it soared straight into people's hearts. It reached the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100, which is already a big deal. But it went off the charts again in 1989. That is super rare. Songs usually don't come back 9 years later and climb the charts again, but this one did, thanks to a radio DJ who brought it back and reminded everyone how amazing it was. Even now, this song still gets tons of radio play. It's one of those timeless ballads that just sticks with you. Powerful vocals, sweet melody, and lyrics that hit you in all the right feelings.
Now whip it!
Number 4, Whip It by Devo. Devo wasn't your usual band. They wore red plastic hats called energy domes, rocked matching jumpsuits, and had some seriously quirky vibes. But behind all that oddball style was something super clever. These guys were all about satire, and Whip It, their breakout hit in 1980, was actually making fun of self-help culture and the whole pull yourself up by the bootstraps attitude in America. It wasn't just a goofy jam, but it was a social commentary with a killer beat. And people absolutely vibed with it. Whip It zoomed to number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100, which was a huge win for a band that didn't really fit into any musical box. It also went gold, meaning over 500,000 people hit it with the song. But it gets even better. The song's music video became legendary. It featured whips, cowboy hats, and all kinds of strange visuals that made it a total MTV favorite. People could not look away, and just like that, Devo became icons of the new wave scene. Cool, confusing, and completely unforgettable.
Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I read at least
Number 5. Turning Japanese by the Vapors. The Vapors were a British new wave band who popped into the scene with their wild hair, fast beats, and a super unique sound. Their big moment came in 1980 when they dropped this super bouncy, super confusing song, Turning Japanese, which had this quick, twangy guitar riff and a chorus that basically stuck in your head for days.
Everyone avoids me like a cyclone ranger.
But the real fun was in the lyrics. Nobody really knew what they meant. Was it about culture shock, a long-distance breakup, something a little more personal? Indeed, some people took wild guesses, but the Vapors always kept it a little mysterious, which just made people talk about it even more. The song hit number 3 on the UK singles chart and made it to number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US. Not bad for a band where most people had never even heard of them before. And while they didn't score another major hit, this one song gave a pretty unforgettable place in music history. And hey, pop culture hasn't let it go either. Turning Japanese has shown up in movies, TV shows, and commercials for decades now. That hook is just too catchy to forget.
Master G, the Sugar Hill Gang.
Number 6. Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang. So who were the Sugar Hill Gang? Well, they weren't your typical rap crew. They were put together by Sylvia Robinson, a music legend who basically made this song possible. It was long, funky, and totally different from anything on the radio. This song was special. Before Rapper's Delight, hip-hop mostly lived in block parties and underground clubs. But once this track hit the airwaves, everyone started paying attention. It reached number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100, which might not sound like a huge deal, but for a genre that had never been on the charts before, that was massive. And it wasn't just the music, it was the attitude, the fun, the storytelling, the confidence. Rapper's Delight made people go wild. The beat was borrowed from Cheek's Good Times, and the flow was fresh, bouncy, and endlessly quotable. Even now, people still remember the opening lines. I said a hip-hop, the hippie, and you're already singing it in your head, right?
Who will be the fool tonight?
Number 7. Who'll Be the Fool Tonight by Larson Featon Band. Now, these two weren't your average pop stars. No, they were real musicians, both with deep roots in jazz and blues. Neil Larson was a skilled keyboardist and Buzz Featon was a guitar wizard. Together, they blended smooth jazz, soft rock, and a little R&B into this one silky sounding track. Who'll Be the Fool Tonight was basically the musical version of wearing sunglasses at sunset. The song didn't need to be loud or flashy, it just vibed. And listeners definitely noticed. It climbed to number 29 on the Billboard Hot 100, giving them their one shining moment on the pop charts. It might not have been a top 10 hit, but it was enough to put their names in the soft rock history.
And I waited for you, babe.
The song has become a bit of a hidden gem. Jazz lovers, yacht rock fans, and late-night radio DJs still keep it in their back pocket like a secret weapon. It's smooth, classy, and it totally holds up today. Number 8. Dance Yourself Dizzy by Liquid Gold. This track is like strapping disco balls to your shoes and sprinting to the dance floor. Liquid Gold was a fun and funky British disco group that brought serious sparkle to the music scene in the late 70s and early 80s. They had glitter, groove, and all the good vibes. Dance Yourself Dizzy dropped in 1980, and boy, did it do exactly what the title promised. With its bouncy beats, horn sections, and falsetto vocals, the song was made for twirling, spinning, and straight up losing your minds in the best possible way. The track shot to number 2 in the UK singles chart, just one step away from the top spot. People could not get enough of the high-energy disco magic. While it didn't make as much noise in the US, it totally dominated dance clubs and roller discos across the UK. Even now, Dance Yourself Dizzy is considered a disco classic. It's kind of the song DJs sneak into their sets when they want to turn the party up a notch. Plus, it's a favorite among fans of retro disco nights who love those shimmering strings and non-stop rhythm.
That suicide is painless.
Number 9. Theme from MASH, Suicide is Painless. While most one-hit wonders make you want to dance or sing along, the next one is a bit deeper. This song was originally written for the 1970 film MASH, a dark comedy about doctors in the Korean War. The lyrics were actually written by the director's 14-year-old son. Indeed, we're serious. He was told to write the dumbest lyrics ever, and somehow they ended up being weirdly deep. The song later became the opening theme for the legendary MASH TV series, which ran from 1972 to 1983 and became one of the most beloved shows in TV history.
It brings on many changes.
The version we're talking about here is the one that made its way to the UK charts in 1980 when it unexpectedly hit number 1. Even though the lyrics weren't used in the TV version, the melancholy tune stuck with people, becoming instantly recognizable the second you heard those first few notes. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't funky, but it meant something. Number 10. Tired of Towing the Line by Rocky Burnett. The song that brought old school rockabilly swagger straight into the shiny pop world of 1980. Now, here's a cool little music family fact. Rocky Burnett is the son of Johnny Burnett, one of the OG rockabilly legends from the 1950s. So yeah, music pretty much ran through his genes. In 1980, Rocky decided to step into the spotlight with his upbeat, retro-flavored tune that blended vintage rockabilly twang with catchy pop hooks, and people loved it. The track had that toe-tapping, hip-swaying energy that made it impossible to ignore, and the charts noticed too. It climbed all the way to number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100, which is no small feat when you're up against disco divas and synth-heavy new wave. What made this hit special was how it gave younger listeners a taste of classic rock and roll, but without sounding old or dusty. It felt fresh, fun, and super danceable. You could almost imagine spinning it on a jukebox while wearing a leather jacket and doing finger guns. But sadly, Rocky couldn't keep the momentum going. His later songs didn't really stick, and he faded out of the spotlight, leaving this one hit as his shining moment. Number 11. Pilot to the Airwaves by Charlie Dore. Now, unlike some flashy chart toppers, this song was like a cozy blanket on a rainy night. It wasn't about breakups or dance floors, it was about radio DJs. Yes, those mysterious voices behind the mic who kept us company during those quiet hours. Charlie's lyrics felt like a thank you to every DJ who made listeners feel less alone. Charlie actually started as an actress before jumping into music, but when she released this tune, it hit a chord, especially in the US, where it climbed to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. Not too shabby for a gentle little folk pop track from across the pond, right? Listeners loved how the song captured the intimate bond between a DJ and their unseen audience. It wasn't flashy or loud, it was real, heartfelt, and super relatable. People who had ever fallen asleep with the radio playing or felt like the DJ was talking to them, they got it. Charlie Dore kept making music after that, but she never quite reached the same chart heights ever again. Number 12. Romeo's Tune by Steve Forbert. Next up is a song that sounds like it belongs in a soft-focused movie montage where two people fall in love at a diner. Romeo's Tune by Steve Forbert was all kinds of sweet, melodic, and totally heart-melting. Steve Forbert, a Mississippi-born singer-songwriter, had the earnest guy with a guitar energy, the kind that makes you feel like he's singing just to you. Romeo's Tune was his breakout moment. This folk rock ballad with a piano hook so catchy it practically skips into your brain and refuses to leave. That famous piano riff wasn't played by Steve himself. It was done by Bobby Ogden, who also worked with Elvis Presley. So yeah, there was some serious talent in that studio. The track climbed to number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming Forbert's biggest and most recognizable hit. Critics loved his raw, poetic lyrics, and fans really vibed with the whole hopeless romantic thing. But despite all the warm fuzzies and love for this tune, Steve never quite managed to hit those same chart heights again. Number 13. Ah Leah by Donnie Iris. The world had a brand new power pop anthem to shout along with when this dropped. The man behind it was Donnie Iris, a guy who already had some music chops from his days with the Jaggers. Remember their hit The Rapper? That was him. But Ah Leah was his first real moment. With those big guitar riffs, light harmonies, and a chorus that basically begs to be screamed in a convertible, this song was electric. And no, Leah wasn't some famous actress or mysterious muse. Donnie always kept the inspiration behind the name a little vague, which made it even cooler. It did pretty well, peaking at number 29 on the Billboard Hot 100. But where it really lived on was in radios in the Midwest, where it became a kind of regular regional rock anthem. In places like Ohio or Pennsylvania, Donnie Iris was basically rock royalty. And while he didn't get another smash hit after that, Donnie kept making music and playing live shows. Ah Leah remained his signature, an electric slice of 1980 that still gets played at classic rock bars and throwback parties. Number 14, Sailing by Christopher Cross. Released in 1980, this smooth, soft rock ballad felt like a sea breeze right through your soul. It wasn't just about sailboats, it was about escaping, dreaming, and floating all away from all the noise of life. Kinda like a deep sigh in music form. Christopher Cross, with his mellow voice and calming vibe, didn't look like your typical pop star, but when Sailing dropped, people were drifting. And the song was so clean and peaceful, it basically became the soundtrack for relaxation in the early 80s. Chart-wise, it killed it. Sailing reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it didn't stop there. At the 1981 Grammy Awards, it swept the room, winning Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Arrangement. Now, even though Christopher Cross had other hits like Ride Like the Wind, none of them ever matched the calm magic of Sailing. It was so iconic, so perfect in its own lane, that people kind of forgot the rest. Number 15, Cars by Gary Numan. When this British musician dropped it, people were like, whoa, what is this? Gary Numan wasn't your average pop star. He had this sci-fi, slightly spooky style that totally stood out. Cars was packed with synths, electronic sounds, and a robotic rhythm that made it feel like you were driving a spaceship, not a sedan. It was one of the first big synth pop hits to really take over the radio. And guess what? It zoomed up to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it a surprise hit in the US, even though it sounded nothing like anything else at that time. In the UK, it did even better, hitting number 1 and basically turning Numan into a space-age pop star. But even though Gary Numan kept making music and actually built a whole career with a dedicated fan base, Cars remained his biggest hit by a mile. It's that song everyone knows, even if they don't know who sings it. Cars has been sampled and covered tons of times from many rappers to rock bands. But what do you think? Which of these songs sound the most familiar to you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're feeling nostalgic, check out our other videos on classic TV show throwbacks. Thank you for watching.